Before we get going on the haunt build, I need to give you guys a Morgan update. I mentioned, yesterday evening, Morgan hurt her finger. She was dragging out a piece of the pond framing. It was a 2x10, about 8 foot long. We're still trying to figure out how she hurt her finger. Our best guess is that she went to drop it, tried to catch it, and ended up smashing her finger underneath of it. She heard it about 7:30 last night. It was bleeding really, really bad. So we got her in the house. Wife put a bandage on it, to compress it, to get the blood flow to stop. And it didn't want to stop. They went through 4 or 5 bandages. About 11 o'clock last night, it was still bleeding fairly good. So we decided, well, we better get her up to the hospital. We made it up to the hospital about 10 minutes after 11. Didn't get home until 1 a.m. So Ram got to bed very late last night. We all did. And apparently what she had done is not only did she smash the finger, she smashed the finger hard enough to drive the fingernail into the finger, which caused a cut, which is where the blood was coming from. She also broke the tip of her finger. And the doctor's also telling us that the fingernail is just barely hanging on. It's going to be falling off here in the next day or two. He did not want to remove it because he was afraid they may not be able to get the blood to stop if they did that. So they're just going to let it fall off on its own. But Morgan's got a huge bandage on her finger now. And her finger is hurting like crazy. Poor little darling. So I don't know how much you are going to see her in the haunt vids for the next, or the build vlogs for the next couple of days, or next couple of weeks. Her hand is going to be really, really sensitive. But anyway, there's your Morgan update. As to haunt build, we did fairly good yesterday. We got the internal partitions up for the water room. We got things skinned. And we got started on the pumping station. And we are going to get finished on the pumping station today. I got to go through and get this part here squared up. It's kind of, the top of it's kind of leaning this way, and that part's kind of slanted in. So we're going to get that done today. Finish getting all the parts I have for it out here into place. And then we're going to start dealing with what hurt Morgan. Those 2x10s. And we're going to start getting them in place, getting the ponds mocked up, and going from there and seeing where we can get. Right now, my only concern is the pumping station and the pond framing. Once we get that done, if we get that done today, I think we are going to address these openings here. This one here and that little one there. And it's actually not so little because I need to go all the way over to there to cover up the bride. So I'm not sure how I'm going to run that piece yet. I'll get to that when I get to it. But anyway, we've got our work cut out for us today. Right now, it's just me and Kaylee, and she's over playing in the gardens over there. Yeah, I said Kaylee. Yeah, wiggle your tail. So we are going to go ahead and get going. I need to get my tools and everything out here. Breakfast of the day. English muffins with butter and honey and a mug of hot tea with a little bit of lemon. You'll have a Susie breakfast of the day. Okay, let's get to it. Progress made. Took about an hour. But we got it, for the most part, all together. At least all the pieces I brought out are there. Except for those two. And those two go along the bottom, and I can't put them up until I get the pond frame in. Once the pond frame's in, I can pop them up. One of the pieces goes on that side, the other piece goes on this side, and then in the middle, we have Morgan's fountain. So I'm going to need to have that out here when I put those things on too, so I can get everything centered. But that won't be for several hours yet. Our next plan of attack is this here. all that lumber. That is pond framing, what I use on the ponds. So I'm going to need to move the water wall and get it out of the way. And we got to do the pond for the water wall and the pond for the pumping station. And that will use up quite a bit of the wood. Then I'll come back over and I'll do the pond for the mermaid that goes in there. Now, doing the pond framing is a two-prong attack. I just don't grab the wood and just start putting it in. I lay the ponds out using stakes and string and my map. I need to make sure I have at least a 3-foot walkway in here. So we'll get everything out. I'll have the tape measure out. And it takes a while to lay it out by string. But we'll get that done, then we can come back through and start putting the pond framing in, which takes even longer. Okay, we have the ponds laid out using stakes and string. So we got the pumping station pond, the water wall pond, this one here, and it's not showing up really good on the camera. It's the mermaid. And I forgot, that's the leering skeleton pond over there. So they'll have a zigzag pattern. Now I have an open area right through here between all the ponds. I'm going to run some fencing down here, so I'll force them to go over there and around to get back out. So, interesting, but it's turning out at least. Well, it's a mess in here, but the pond frames are done. We did get the water wall back into its place, just not put together. Have to wait till the liners are in before I can put that damn thing together. But we got the pond frame for the water wall, the pumping station, and I got the covers on. They're not in their exact positions. That one needs to go to the right a bit, that one needs to go to the left for a bit, and I'll do that when I go to put Morgan's Fountain in. I'll line them up better. This one's going to be for the new mermaid, the one with the double dragons on it. And then we got a little one in over here. This is going to be leering skeleton. He does not need a very big or very deep pond. So, but he's getting his own pond this year. Usually I throw him in with something, one of the other displays. So effectively this year we're going to have 4 ponds in here. 5 altogether if we count the one that goes in the clown, which I won't be doing for a couple of weeks yet. I'm not ready for clown. It's well after 2 o'clock, probably closer to 3:30. I need to take Kaylee for her walk. She's waiting like a good girl. Then I need to get cleaned up a little bit, and then we're going to start dragging out fence posts and fence panels, and we're going to get all the ponds fenced in today. That way I have all the fencing in here, and then we'll be done for the moment with this. I'll be out here a lot. I still got props and liners and everything else to do, but we'll do that later. It's just trying to get some of the bigger stuff into the display now before I get more maze built. Well, I got done what I needed to do. Now I know I got Weird Al Yankovic playing in the background. I'm not turning off. You two could stick it. But I got my bucket list done. Pond frames are in, and I got the fencing in, and I got the pumping station done. It took all day. It's dang near dinner time. It's just a hair after 6. Then they come around the corner to here, and then they're out. And then we'll have the clown display here. There'll be a little nook here and then over for the clown. I'm not going to tell you where the hammering clown's going. I think for the rest of the evening, I've got to get the table moved. And we're going to finish out the partitions for the chain hallway. And I'll get them braced tonight. And then if Swan's up to it, she can help me carry out skin panels. And we'll start the skinning of the chain hall. We won't get anywhere near being complete on it tonight. But we'll get started. And that's another long process. Skinning takes long enough as it is. But I've got to go through and wire it too, because I got a couple spots that are getting plywood as a cover. And I have to have the wiring done ahead of time. So I'll go ahead and get the wiring on there and go from there. But anyway, we're on to chain haul now. Well, we got a little ways tonight. It is 8:48. I am calling it quits. We got the last of the chain haul panels, partition walls up. Chain haul is supposed to end here, or start here actually, and then end in the water room. If my count was right, and the reason why I'm saying if my count is right is if I counted my skins and stuff right. It should take all 40 panels to do this area, if my count was right. But we got those last of the partitions up, and I started skinning here and got this wall done. That is as far as I'm going to go tonight, because I'm having a problem. I want to, before I do this wall, any on this wall, I want to get around this little nook here. This is where our display is going to be. And get up to about here, and then I'll stop, come over, and do this section. My problem is the rose bush here. Sue Ann, to help me out, came in and did a light pruning on these. She got rid of all the tall stuff, so I wasn't going to have to fight it to get the partition walls in on the perimeter. But it needs to be trimmed back more so I can get the skin panels on and get the display pieces in here. Right now they're just all too bushy. So I'm going to need to do that before I can really go any further. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and get cleaned up, and then we'll get going on your end of the day wrap up. So hold tight. Okay, all my tools are put away, everything's unplugged, and I'm sitting down on the front step. So I guess it is end of the day wrap up. And we got Kaylee settling down out there. She's been out here off and on with me all day, being a good girl. KK a good girl. It was a long day in the water room. A very hot day in the water room. It was like 83, 84 here today. It didn't get as hot. But being in underneath that tent and the fact that I have foam wall panels up in there, it heated up. You know, that top is white. Should reflect the heat. It doesn't. It heats up in there, and the heat kind of gets trapped. There was a couple times where I almost had to wring my shirt out. I was getting so soaked. But we did pretty good. We started out with getting the pumping station, the basics on the pumping station done. Then we switched over and started doing the pond frames, you know, getting the framework in for the ponds. Got all that done. Then we came back through and started putting fence panels in. It's easier to get those things into the water room where I don't have to try to wig them through all the maze. Got that done. So the maze portion inside the water room is now effectively done. Which is as far as I'm going to go. I still have to get liners in and props in and get the water wall in and do the lighting and the projectors and, you know, all that type of stuff, which happens later on in the vlog when we're setting up the displays. But for right now, for this stage, I'm calling the water room done. Right before dinner, I switched over, cleaned up my mess in the water room, and we got the last of the partitions in for the chain hallway. And then Sue Ann gave me a hand with Morgan being injured. I didn't have her to help, but Sue Ann gave me a hand, and we got the skins out here, and I got started on skinning. Like I said with the last vlog, and we're moving on to tomorrow, what to expect. Well, like I mentioned in the last segment, I've got to get those roses clipped down to their final position before I can go any further. And if I got to do the ones in the chain haul so I can get the skins on, I might as well do all of them. Which means cleaning and raking and cleaning and getting stuck with stickers. So that'll be first order of business. That'll be the first thing we do tomorrow. Then we'll get flop back over and we'll start skinning again, getting all the skinning done. and then probably get into wiring those panels, so I can get that done and out of the way. Once the skinning's done and the wiring's done, then I can get the plywood up in those areas that I need. That's all I want to accomplish tomorrow. That's on my bucket list to get done tomorrow. The next step after the chain haul is starting the graveyard, which is a lot of partition walls and skins. But I've got one major piece I've got to get put in before I can do any of that, and that's the mausoleum, and that's almost a full day job. I don't know if I'm going to mess with the little urn boxes tomorrow or not, if we make it that far. I may just get the shell up and then just leave it at that and then get all the skin panels on. I don't know. But graveyard is definitely tomorrow. We'll hopefully get started tomorrow. If not, it will be day 5. Out of that, I can't think of anything else. So I'm going to end it. We'll see you tomorrow for day 4. Stay spooky. Stay toxic.